All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. It is September 9th, 2025. I call this regular meeting of the PCSSD School Board to order. Ms. Smith, would you please call the roll?
Ward. Tate.
Here.
Smith. Here. Potter.
Here.
Maynard.
Here.
Keller. Delaney.
Present. Would you please join me in the pledge? Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. Our first item on the agenda tonight are our celebrations and recognitions. Our first one of those is our REACH graduate, Dr. Whitfield.
Good afternoon.
Miss Hamilton, the principal, could not be here tonight, so I'm going to read what she wrote. So about 5 years ago, the district partnered with the REACH University, and REACH University, an accredited university that provides like job-embedded opportunities for our classified staff. So it's a partnership that enables our classified staff to obtain a college degree. So I have Miss Lowe with me tonight as evidence that it works. So she's our first REACH graduate. So I'm going to read what her principal wrote. Miss Lowe started at Clinton Elementary as a PTO mom. From there, she started working in the cafeteria as a lunch monitor while serving as a volunteer. The more time she spent at school, the more she began to love it. Next, she signed up for Will Sub and became the most requested sub in the building. She was so successful as a sub at every grade level. So when the REACH flyer came across the principal's email, she immediately thought of Mrs. Lowe. And Miss Lowe looked into the program, signed up, and was accepted. After Miss Lowe reached 60 hours, she applied for a paraprofessional job at the school. She completed her hours with honors in May 2025, all while working at the school. She is now teaching third grade at Clinton Elementary. She is the team lead of the third grade team because she knows every capacity of the school. She's mom to 2 boys, and let's see what else is that one here. Worked with parents as a PTO president, worked with classified staff, lunch monitor, paraprofessional, and now the most experienced third grade teacher on the team. So I present to you Ms. Lowe.
Very good.
So we're very proud of her, and that the partnership is producing teachers who will stay with us. That's the most important part. And I don't know if she wants me to tell or not, but Miss Nichols is very, very close. So she's another one that's benefited from the partnership. Thank you, Ms. Lowe. We're very proud of you.
Miss
And
Lowe.
we're glad you
Thank
chose
you.
to stay with us.
Very proud.
Okay. Our next celebration and recognition is our student board member. Dr. Sharkey will be introducing her.
Good evening. Thank you. Members of the board, please meet Geneva Gregory, our student board member for September. If you would stand just for a second. So Geneva is a very outgoing person, loves to help people out, and she is a senior at Mills High School this year. She's been a student leader for her entire time at the school, and during her junior year, she was homecoming princess. She's been on AB honor roll for her entire high school career, and last year she finished the year with a 3.8 GPA.
Excellent.
She is currently an ambassador at Mills, a member of the student council, and if she looks familiar, she plays basketball and she runs track. So you might have seen her in some of the athletic games. She currently lives with her sister and her father, who is the head coach of Mills girls basketball team, Coach Joe Gregory. Her career aspirations are to become a lawyer after she plays collegiate basketball at a 2-year or 4-year institution. And she wants to become a criminal defense attorney. So please welcome Ms. Geneva Gregory for our tonight.
Geneva, welcome to the board. You are allowed to do everything except vote here. We don't have a lot of complicated rules about how we go about talking and discussing things. We just don't talk over each other, so you don't have to ask permission to talk or anything if you have a question at any point. If you have something to say at any point, just lean forward and ask your question, okay? And welcome. Thanks. All right, our next item is public comments. Ms. Richards, did you say we had none? No signups? Okay. After that is our reports and presentations. We have our financial updates with Ms. Guess.
Good evening, Board. Good evening, Mr. Sin.
Good evening.
You have 3 reports that have been passed out to you tonight. One is this, the legal fund teacher salary operating and debt service report that you're used to seeing. I thought we had talked just a little bit about the budget, and so I gave you a cycle 1, level 1 report from our approved financials for school year 25 and our budget for 24 and our budget for 25. I also included a board report for the same funds that we'll be talking about tonight, which will be 1, all teacher salary, 2, all operating, and 4, the debt service fund. So, we began the year with $15,591,099 and some change. This is in the top left corner of your legal fund report. We have year-to-date revenues of $172,338,209, expenses of $172,592,906, and an ending legal balance, which means all 2 funds, of $15,336,402.50. Our categorical funds, which are PD, ALE, ELL, and ESSA, are those categorical funds, and they are subtracted from the ending legal balance to arrive at our current net legal balance of $15,172,407.55. If you'll look at the board report, mine's been scribbled on, yours should be nice and clean. If you'll go to page 2, about midway down, you will see total operating fund. In the beginning balance of the first column is the $15,591,099.76. That in that top left-hand corner was our beginning balance for school year 25. You see revenue, you see expenses, and the ending balance in the last column of $15,336,402.50. That ties back to your ending legal balance on the spreadsheet. You see your debt service fund below it, you see your teacher salary fund above it, but I did want you to see how the board report does tie to the spreadsheet. Okay, now you have your cycle 1 report. It's 2 pages long. You've got your actual 23, 24, which we won't be talking about tonight unless you have a question. But I would like to remind you, I wasn't here in 23, 24, but I'll do my best on that. Your budget for 25. Now, I'm going to just pick this document up. Do you see these original budget columns? There's 2 of them right here. It says original budget, and it's got adjusted budget amounts, and then it's got your final adjusted. these numbers under the original budget tie perfectly to the second column here for your, what we submitted, or what was submitted this time last year for your budget. And then I know y'all remember that you've made several budget revisions through the year. And that is what is in that second column where it says budget plus minus. And then we have an adjusted budgeted expenditure. So, two more things to look at. Your year-to-date expenses in the light green, which is the 172,592 number. And then below that, you have your year-to-date revenue of the 172,338. Now, what I want you to see is you can very easily tie these expenses under light green and your revenue, and that's all for the whole year, to what was originally budgeted, or in the dark green column, what was revised. So, to me, that gives you your beginning balance for school year 25, your ending balance for school year 25. Those numbers tie back on the rest of this report to your cycle 1 budget report, as well as your revisions, and I've shown you on your board report how those numbers tie back to the Excel spreadsheet. Now, I've either confused you mightily or you have some questions for me, and I'll do my best to entertain those now.
I have a question. So on the adjusted budgeted expenditures, the total, 174.7 was our total expenditures budgeted. We spent 172, but originally our budgeted revenue was 168. So we had a $6 million swing between what we budgeted versus what we brought in.
Okay, now are you looking at this bottom piece here?
I'm looking at the green. Yeah.
This piece?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your first one.
So the total expenditures budgeted were 174 million, with total revenue budgeted at 168 million. So that, to me, says we were 6 million short bringing in what we were spending. But then we ended up 172.5 for expenditures and 172.3 for total revenue. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's absolutely correct.
The adjusted number was what was sent to or what we arrived at later, because the first column, the original budget, would have been the thing approved in September of 2024,
Correct, that's
right?
exactly what went in this column
Yeah.
on the cycle 1 report.
And then what, roughly the date that the budget was adjusted was when?
Well, we do those all during the year.
Okay.
No, let me rephrase that. We did those all during the year in 25. We won't be doing those in 26. we
Okay.
hope.
Yeah.
Well,
So initially, we budgeted $1 million more revenue than what we were spending.
Yes. And if you'll see that budget adjustment of, well, actually in that same column is Maynard, that 2.25 million.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the insurance money
Mhm.
that we expected?
Mm-hmm.
And only like 1.1 million actually came into the district. So that was overrepresented.
Yeah.
By quite a bit. And we still have the other portion of that insurance to collect this year. So that was the drastic difference between the 169 and the 168. And then if you look at go back up to the expense column and look in the second column under budget plus or minus, do you see the other operations where we adjusted that by the 4.1 million? That was the technology in expenses that had always been paid out of the 2 fund. And it was determined that those would be paid out of that 5 fund, the capital outlay fund for technology. And then we brought that back into the operating fund where it should have been to start with.
Because capital outlay was going to run short correct?
It would have run short for what they needed, like
Yeah.
Chromebooks and those kinds of things. We were paying phone bills, for instance, out of Fund 5.
And then if I remember right, we did pay off the food service debt,
Pay
the
off
food
what?
service debt.
That was 600,000. So we started with 15,591 at the beginning of the year. We ended 15,172, which was below the original budget.
But we had heard at one point, did you find some money? Because we had heard at one point we could end as low as 12.
We did move some expenses around. A lot of them were between the two funds. For instance, there was, growth money and student loss money that had not been spent for several years. It was just sitting out there not being used. So we moved those expenses from the 2000 fund to, I think it's 2218 and 2219 on your board report. And they were spent. So we saved money in the 2000 fund, but not in the two asterisk funds.
Got you.
Okay.
Other questions for Ms. Guess? Okay. We have to submit a budget to the state by the 30th of September.
Yes.
And you're working on the business office is working on that budget right now. But you're gonna need the board to come back for a special meeting at some point to approve, to go over the budget and eventually to approve it.
Yeah, and before the 30th.
Yeah, but, so, board, we'll need to look at our calendars, but not yet. I'm gonna wait. I think Ms. Ward will come a little later, and we'll have everybody here, and, we can talk about what day would be good for a budget meeting. But we may need you back up here too to tell us when the budget might be ready so that we don't meet too soon.
I'll be here, I'm not leaving.
Okay, well, but the budget, it still needs to be ready, so, okay.
I
all right.
agree.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Board.
Thank you.
Sam.
Thank you, ma'am.
One question, Mr. Sun. Have we, looked at, she mentioned the food service debt. Do we have a plan different this year than what we've been doing?
The law will not allow you to do anything different. One of the things that's going to help us, though, is that those students that qualify for Medicaid are now can eat free, and that we are also serving free breakfast every day. So those charges will go away. But the state will not allow you to do anything else.
I don't see Dr. Warren here, but I think possibly something that was going to help was, we were switching from CEP to Provision 2 or something, and I don't know if we can ask that question at another time, but that might be somewhat of a plan that was implemented last year that was going to help, as well. But I can't speak to that, but it was my understanding that Provision 2, moving from Community Eligibility Program to Provision 2, could reduce those costs, but I can't remember the mechanics of how it all works, but that's another piece to it. Okay, our next item is construction updates with Mr. Johnson.
Board, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hope everyone is well. We'll jump right in and get started as we should. Master plan. We've set a tentative date. This year is the year, every off year, every other year, you have to basically do community meetings to talk about our master planning process, which is a 6-year plan to tell the community what our intent is as far as the district goes, as far as construction within the district. And so we've tentatively set a date for the 11th of December for the public meeting to take place here at the district office at 6 p.m. to give our constituents in the district a chance to get here to be updated on what the district's goals and plans are. I would ask members of the board If there are things that you guys really want to add to this process, please get that information to me prior to October 1st if you can. That gives my team a real good window of time to kind of get that sorted through and add it to the documentation that we'll present to the community.
Just to clarify, the 11th is a Thursday. That's what I'm looking at here, just so
That's correct.
everybody knows. It's the Thursday after our regular board meeting, which is the 9th. It will be in the middle of the ASBA winter conference or whatever, but what time do you think it would be?
6 p.m.
6, okay. They always finish before then, so. It's not an actual board meeting, though. It's
No,
a
it's not.
hearing. It's a hearing, and you give a presentation, and then get feedback, answer questions. It's a dialogue, basically, between the administration and the public that comes.
That's correct.
Right, okay. So it's not a board meeting. If you come and you have a lot to say and we start talking back to each other, we need to be careful about that. So just keep in mind. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't come. That just means it's not a board meeting.
Will it be in
It
this
won't be
room?
announced. Huh?
Here?
It'll be here in the boardroom. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you, babe.
And generally, it runs about an hour and a half. And it's just general dialogue as far as what the projected plans are for the district over the next 6-year period of time.
Okay.
And then we open up for any questions from the community during that time frame and document that feedback from the community, giving them an opportunity to be heard.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Next item up is Mills Arena. We're trying to get to a point by September 19th that we start doing our walkthroughs through the building to make sure that we're ready to deliver this building and do any punch list items during that time frame. The building, however, will not be turned over until the first week of October, potentially. We've got some issues getting the lockers in, and that's a shipping issue going on currently right now, and our team SOPA is really trying hard to get an established date on when they will be here, but that's kind of one of our major holdups as far as this process goes. But as far as major work and where we are, the bleachers are 99% complete and operational. Epoxy flooring on the first level will be complete this Thursday on 9/11. Ceilings in the main entry will be completed this Friday, 9/12. Final painting and other miscellaneous finishes are ongoing, and that'll be ongoing through the punch list cycle. Gym floor will be completed on 9/12. Final cleaning will start on the 11th and continue as we start into those rooms that are complete, into those rooms that are not completed. And upon their completion, they'll get in and clean those as well as we move. Then we'll have our major big final fire inspection at the end of the month. And once Marshall Free gives us the all clear and a CO for this building, give us approval to occupy the building, we'll set a time frame to turn it over. All right? That will conclude my report for Mills at this particular point in time. Yes, sir.
You met with Mr. Bates and went through everything with him, right?
Yes, so Devin Bates and I, our attorney, walked the building roughly about 2 weeks ago. Just to give him some insight on where we were as he's taking the information he needs to prepare for our report to.
Okay, so that, we had a question about that last time, and that, we said last time, I think, that he was gonna come out, look at everything. He's done that, so everything went well, right?
That's exactly right. He was
okay.
pleased with what he saw.
We just didn't have the gym in a photographic state, right? It wasn't picturesque yet.
Absolutely not
Okay.
at the time frame.
Okay.
He walked down his checklist that we provided to the court early on in this process, just to make sure that the things that we told the court that we would do, we had accountability for. When he finished, he was completely comfortable with what he saw within the process that we completed.
Okay. All right, great.
All right. Next up, Robinson High School. Good news, modular unit that we talked about for the Driven program has arrived. It arrived last night about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And we had a team of guys out there ready to receive those folks and get them situated just so they can turn it
At
over
Robinson?
at Robinson High School.
So they put it behind the Champion Center and everything?
At 7 o'clock last night.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. And their setup team or install team was supposed to be back this afternoon to get it done, but I don't know if they have arrived yet, so I would anticipate they will be back out tomorrow And that process will be ongoing until completion. So we're running electrical to the building. There's no plumbing that has to go. It's all low-level alarm pieces and those things that will be native to that building, and we'll turn the building over to the campus for use as
Do
quickly
you-
as possible.
As soon as possible.
As quickly as
Do
possible.
you think by the end of the month, or do you think it'd be
I
October?
will not do that with you.
Okay, all right. Does the fire marshal have to look at that one?
Sir?
Does the fire marshal have to check that one?
On this one, I do not believe so, but I want
Okay.
clarification before I make an affirmative statement on that, sir.
I was
So-
waiting on a date to write it down.
So maybe October, right?
The unit is here and it's on the ground.
Okay, all right, got it.
Yes, sir.
Definitely not by the end of the month, right, Curtis?
I'm not even gonna say that. God may bless us and we may come in early.
When's the
But
ribbon cutting for the modular?
Well, me and Dr. Shark are kind of on the fence about that as we speak, and I'll cover that next.
Okay, all right.
As far as the high school goes, tentative date for grand opening, I mean, not for grand opening, but for ribbon cutting is the 2nd of October. We have a slight conflict because I think we have a building principals meeting that morning, but we'll work through that portion, try to figure it out, but tentatively for right now, that's the date. The construction team will actually start on site on the 15th, which is this Monday, doing their prep work, anticipating everything that they need to get done. So they'll start on the 15th, which is this upcoming Monday. Next up, College Station Elementary. Design and layout and budget, we've already talked about that, and the guys have completed that. We're doing the permitting pieces now, trying to get through the city and the state. And as soon as we can get the permitting process complete, we'll be moving towards getting the budget finalized by putting it out to bid and getting final prices back and getting a GMP in front of us, so you guys can have it for your consideration. I'm optimistic that we can get that done over the next 45 days, but I would probably say 60 days. Okay.
Are you still thinking that they'll be out just this year? Maybe get them back in there by next fall?
So tentatively, what the construction firm has given us is a January of 2027. So I think we were shooting for the fall of next year. They're like with some of the things that they've got to wait to get in, we won't make that mark.
Okay.
And so tentatively right now, they've got us taking possession of the building January 2027. All right.
Did you say the plans are with the state, though, or?
Yeah, so
Okay.
city's reviewing, and they're in preparation. Once the city does their final approvals and the health department does their approvals, they'll push it to the state for their consideration. But they're waiting for the city to make their final adjustments before they go to the state.
Does the city have to approve things anymore because of the ETJ? You know what I'm talking about, the extraterritorial jurisdiction?
I don't know about that, but I'm gonna say in this particular case, yes.
Okay, all right.
Okay. That's kind of been a sticking point, but they've done a good job of being preemptive on our strike with the city by trying to get everything out to them early.
Okay.
And so they'll have it for their consideration.
All right.
All right, Harris Elementary, the roof and the basketball floor will start construction in mid-October. We're trying to get that done. It'll take about 2 weeks to get that finished up. And so that way we can get kids in the building when it starts to get cold outside. I really wanted to try to make sure we got that done before it started to get cold outside. And they'd have some space, so we'll get those portions done. The architect team is still working on the design for the office space and the primary cavity and with the media center and those ancillary items that we're waiting for. So I'm waiting for that design so I can get that brought over to you guys for your consideration.
Okay.
And that concludes my report at this time frame. I would ask one question though. I think we had exercising of some bonds, I guess, this past week. And I was asked by Ms. Allgood, and I guess they'll talk about that in their presentation. But she needed some information from me as far as how to, the layout for the fund. So I think we'll get some consideration from that, and then we'll get her taken care of, because she's got an application she's got to complete. So that is it for me.
I have one question about Sylvan Hills Elementary.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you guys able to go out and walk that and see if we can give her any relief?
Sylvan Hills Elementary. No, not at this moment. It's been a little bit crazy, a little bit hectic.
Because she's busting.
All of them are.
Yeah.
I got you. We'll get over it. Take a look. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Great question. Other questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johnson.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. That brings us down to our first action item, which is the approval of the last meeting's minutes, August 12th. I'll take a motion on the minutes.
Motion.
Ms. Maynard has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Smith has seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the August 12th, 2025 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That brings us down to our next action item under new business, which is a resolution authorizing the second lien bonds with Mr. Trumper, Ms. Allgood, and Holtzclaw, right? I'm gonna bring him up, leave him on the bench, okay.
Mr. Delaney, Mr. Sen, members of the board, good evening. We're passing around the proceed sheet and the bond resolution to go over with you all. And I'm going to summarize the proceed sheet and the bond resolution. And then if you have some additional technical details on the resolution, Ms. Allgood, who's the author of this document, will be here to answer any questions. Before we get started, I do want to point out that I have an associate of mine, Jason Holtzclaw, with me this evening. And then, Michelle, you want to introduce your...
So one of the newest attorneys in Arkansas, Clifford McLeod. He was also a coach of some of your championship wrestlers at home. In his day.
Not to be mistaken as our student of,
Yeah,
I may or may not have thought he was 17.
not
He's
a
got
bad,
that youthful glow
not a bad thing.
for a 30-year-old.
All right, has everybody got a copy of the document? I'd like to summarize, we've really got good news for you all this evening. We ended up delaying the bond sale about a week that really benefited the school district. But on a breakdown of your sources and uses of funds, this is the application that was approved back in November of last year to net the school district a minimum of $15 million in project funds. The bond issue size was $15,370,000. We are dating the bond issue October 14th, and then the bonds will close on October the 14th, and that's when the bond proceeds will be wired to the district. If you look at the receipt of funds, we had the par amount of $15,370,000. We have a reoffering premium, which is paid by the investors, of $138,415.85. So our total receipt or sources of funds is $15,508,415.85. Now, the distribution, or how those funds will be spent, are as follows. The underwriter's discount, which has been paid to the winning bidder of 1.784%, or $17.84 per thousand, is $274,200.80. That's what they get paid for, paying their sales force to sell the bonds to get you all the lowest interest rate based on the bids that we received. The municipal advisory fee, which is paid to Stevens, which is 0.273%. The rating agency fee, which is buying the underlying rating of AA from Moody's based on the state enhancement program, and then bond to council fee at $20,170. So the net remaining is $15,142,707.07. So based on how the bids came in, the district received $142,707.07 more than what we had planned for. Now, the beauty of that is that you've got the ability that you can use those funds for projects. If you don't have projects, you can use those funds to retire debt, or we have in the bond application that any remaining funds can be used for other projects or capital purposes. So you have complete flexibility with those funds. The good faith deposit of $307,400, which represents 2%, was sent to the district on the day the bonds were sold. And so when we close the issue on October 14th, you'll get the total amount of the $15,142,707.07 less the $307,400 that you've already received. So that's a breakdown of the sources and uses of funds. Does anybody have any questions?
I have questions, but
Yeah.
I have a comment that I'm really excited that we're getting $142,000 more than what we expected. So I appreciate your hard work to make that happen for us. Every little bit counts, and there's a lot that can be done with that. So thank you.
It really does. And when we go about the resolution, I think you'll really be pleased, because when you get a better interest rate and more money and a lower payment, that's just kind of a winning combination there. If there are not any other questions, then let's turn to the resolution. And so, the bond resolution is the document that requires formal action by the board to authorize the issuance of the second lien bonds. Just to refresh everybody's memory, a second lien bond issue is a bond issue secured by your excess or surplus debt service revenues, being those revenues that are above your bond payment generated from your debt service mills, which of course you all know your assessments grow every year, so those revenues increase every year. You received 4 bids. The winning bid came from Mesro Financial at a 4.352, followed by Raymond James at a 4.389, Robert W. Baird at a 4.447, and Cardi and Company at a 4.58. When we did your bond application back in November, this was prior to all the talk about tariffs and all that action that took place in April, we assumed an interest rate of 4%. When we did your preliminary official statement numbers to send in the offering document, we used a true interest cost estimate of 4.73%. So you can see coming in at 4.35, we were really pleased that you got a great aggressive bid. And your cover bid, which is the second bid from Raymond James, is just about 4 basis points higher than that. So it was really a pretty tight bid from your first bid to your best bid. So we were really pleased with Mesro Financial's bid of 4.35%. If you turn to page 2 of the document, at the bottom of the document, Mesro has selected Bank OZK as your trustee. You will make your payments every February and August, interest payments Feb 1 and August 1, and principal payments Feb 1, with your first interest payment being made August 1 of 2026, first principal payment being made Feb 1 of 2027, which is consistent on your payment dates on your existing bond issues. On page 3, you can see how Mesro structured the bond issue and how they are marketing it to their investor base. We have what we call all serial maturities, 27 through 2048. In the past, you all heard me mention term bonds, where there were situations where they may take 2 or 3 maturities and term them up to get a larger block of bonds. In this particular case, they did not do that, so it was all serial maturities. You can see the maturity date in the first column. The second column is the amount of bonds that will mature in each one of those dates. And then the interest rate in the third column on each side is what interest rate the investor will receive based on which maturity they purchased. So you see coupons from 5% to 4.5, and I told you on the front page that your true interest cost was 4.35. Well, that represents a combination of premium bonds, bonds being sold that are greater than 100 cents on the dollar, and bonds that are at a discount, which are sold less than 100 cents on the dollar. And so when you look at the yields on those bonds from 27 to 48, your yields range in 2027 of 2.35%, in 2048 out to 4.625%. So this structure is nothing more than a marketing technique for the winning bidder to purchase the issue from you all and then sell it to their customer base. And so that came in with your true interest cost, as we mentioned, of the 4.35 or the 4.349. Pages 4 through 7 is the bond form, and there were 22 maturities, so there are 22 bonds that have been signed by the President and Secretary. As I mentioned, Bank OZK will be your trustee, and your optional redemption date is pretty much our standard 5-year call, February 1, 2031. So once you get within 90 days of that date, then the district will have the option, if rates are lower, to refinance for interest cost savings, or 2, if there was any need to generate additional project funds, it would become a restructuring candidate if that was in the best interest of the district. So those are what I think are the high points. Anything that you would like to mention, or if there's any technical questions on this resolution, I know Ms. Allgood would be in a better position to answer them than me.
The only thing I want to mention is I did ask Mr. Johnson to help identify, to the extent you can, the projects that you think you're going to spend this money on. There's tax rules that we have to follow. We need to make sure that our useful life works out. We are not concerned about this at all, but we do track it to make sure that everything is as it should be. That doesn't hem you in. It will give you some flexibility, but to the extent we know and have some ideas, then we want to include that in our paperwork so that we remember in the future.
Okay. I think we know where this is going to be spent. It's going to be spent on College Station, Harris, and Robinson, mostly, if not all. I mean, to the level that whatever's left will probably be de minimis. However, I do have a question because we've had you here before to talk about, you know, because we're in overtime with the previous
Yes.
tranche of bonds. And, you know, so we have arbitrage issues and things like that, that you're familiar, were familiar with at the time. I don't know if you followed it since then. But we still have, you know, about $20 million of that original, the previous issue or whatever. Do we need to spend those dollars first, right? And get those out?
So it's my understanding that those dollars have likely already been obligated.
They have been obligated, 100%.
And so they are obligated. You don't need to de-obligate them and switch things around. You should continue with the plan that you have for those funds right now. And the district is taking action to restrict yield, that it's being monitored if there will be any arbitrage that needs to be paid. Just to remind folks, the interest rates that Jack was talking about that are stated on your bonds and your yields, that if you earn more from your investments than you are paying in interest, that is arbitrage. It's something, I've been doing this for 30 years, only recently has this reared its ugly head. It's just the way the market is fluctuating right now. It's not a problem because we're monitoring it and we are addressing it. It's not something to be ignored, and I have no concern. If I had concern that you were ignoring it, this bond issue would have been at risk. But we don't have that concern, feel like the district is doing everything it should in that regard.
Well, but we do need to close the book on that issue at some point, right? And in terms of dollars, there's no, as long as we spend 20 million, it doesn't matter that we show where it came from in terms of like, because, you know, we have money in the building fund right now that came from that 80. Do we need that to go out that way and keep the new 20 separate? Or do you think that as long as we show that we spent 20 and
You will carefully track, that is part of the representations that are made in all of the resolutions that we bring to you, is that you will carefully track the expenditures of those funds. I would not advise you from a legal perspective to get too crazy about changing those around. The potential for a mistake there and somebody questioning that is a greater risk than just monitoring and continuing the course that you had planned with that original 20 mil.
Okay. All right, and the rest of these type of conversations are mechanical questions that can happen between you and the administration to make sure they're following the plan, because we have had some changeovers. Okay.
So if I remember, if I remember right, the 20 million that's left from the 80 million was already, we had already said we were gonna use that for College Station, Harris, and Robinson, in addition to the 15, right? That we are getting off the bonds, off the second lien bonds. Is that correct?
The insurance money?
No, I think do you want to answer, Mr.
Mr. Johnson.
So the rules are real simple, first in, first out. So the first buckets of money that we've got, we've allocated those funds, I think, in conversations with Ms. Allgood and her team, and then also with Jack and his team, was to make sure that we were consistent. So it is our full intent to make sure that we exhaust all of the initial funding first, and then this is secondary funding that comes in to fill in where we got gaps.
Okay, so you've got your eye on the ball
Yes,
on this
sir, I
one.
have.
Okay, got it.
Lil ain't about it.
Okay. Okay, well, and then I believe the question though was about what, you know, if we're keeping track, it's not gonna matter at a certain point, because now we have enough money to do all the projects. Before, there was this rhetorical thing about what's the 20 earmarked for and who's got to wait on the second liens. Didn't we commit 20 million to the Robinson project early on, like inside of the contract, and that was how we were hanging our hat on saying that we were spending down the original 80?
I don't remember exactly that terminology of how you just phrased it just then. I do remember that we went in and put the 20 down to make sure that it's part of that fund, knowing that our GMP was 27 million, that additional would have to come from the funds that were just acquired.
Yeah.
But every fund is separated in Fund 3 so that we got good track of how we're spending the funding.
And at the point that this new money lands in the Banco ZK in October, it's kind of an academic point, what project got what, because now you can account that everybody's gonna be made whole with respect to the 3 schools.
That is correct.
Okay.
Fair enough?
Yay.
Okay,
Good?
okay.
All right.
All right,
I want to, Mr. Blaine, mention one thing, talking about your arbitrage question. Your arbitrage yield on this issue is 4.175, so it's based on what, 5-year average? You earn 5-year average over that, that's when you have rebate. If you're equal to less than that, you don't have rebate. And I think you might wanted to mention about why we're waiting 30 days to close.
Oh, so there is a recent change in the law, and y'all may have already been informed about this, the Freedom of Information Act. It's my understanding that y'all are already functioning in a way that is in compliance with the law, even with the changes. But one of the big changes is that previously, you could pass a resolution and we could close the bond issue the next day. I mean, and we generally did it in a week, 10 days, because Mr. Johnson has a list of projects that he wants to do and he's ready to spend the money. Unfortunately, Arkansas law has changed. In the Freedom of Information Act, there is a potential penalty if there is a violation of Freedom of Information Act that is tied to an action of this governing body. A type of, something that might create a problem is if y'all are at a basketball game and you are talking about how you're gonna vote on a resolution that is being presented to you. You are having deliberations in private and not in a public meeting. The remedy, if you do that, a member of the public, somebody could challenge that action. They could say you have violated the Freedom of Information Act, and a court could void the resolution. So this resolution, if somebody made an allegation that y'all violated the Freedom of Information Act in connection with its passage, and a court agreed with them, then they could say, action's void, they don't have authority to issue the bonds. So, and there's a safe harbor built into the law that says if somebody's gonna make that allegation, then you have to be soup to nuts by 30 days. So a court would have to decide within that 30-day window and take the action to void it. So what this is how Jack and his team structured the transaction, is that we've told everybody from the beginning that we're not gonna close this deal until 30 days after you pass this resolution. So that's why October 14th is the day that we will actually close the bond issue. It is the day that the money will be available to you and Mr. Johnson can spend it.
okay.
That's just different.
Yeah,
I mean,
we just have to allocate
it's just
that
a
in our-
new,
our timeline.
Okay.
Any other questions on the resolution?
No? You need a
So,
vote? You need
yeah,
a vote,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to approve the second lien bond resolution. Is that what you need?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay, I've made the motion. Dr. Tate has seconded. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the second lien bond resolution, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, have that 7-0.
All right. Thank
You've
you
got all
very
your
much.
signatures and everything?
We've got everything signed, we're good to go, and just.
I only screwed up once, but out of 50 signatures, that's pretty good.
That's why we bring 2
I signed for the bank, didn't need to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney.
Okay.
Members of the board, thank you
All
all so
right.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
my
Gay.
Or the banker.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir, thank you.
Okay, let's keep going. It's the Dr. Williams show. Is it Dr. Williams and Friends show or just Dr. Williams today? Just Dr. Williams show, okay. All right, we got a lot of policies here. We'll start with classified PPC drug-free workplace.
So, good evening, first of all. As I've stated in a few previous meetings, we are working, the 2 PPC committees are working diligently to align their manuals more. They have basically the same policies, but there are some that certified had that classified didn't have and vice versa. So we're trying to align the 2. One of these we did work on with certified already, but I will be bringing it back later. This first one I think you have listed as the drug-free workplace, And the original intent was to align it to the format of the certified one. So that's the initial change, but then we had made that change, but in some discussions and in my position, things always happen and they make you think, oh, well, maybe we should do this too. And so, in the course of that, we decided we needed to add something to the policy in regards to medical marijuana cards. The state does not recognize those in public schools. And we just want it clear. We tell people, we say that, but we want it in writing, big bold letters, that does not cover you if you are found to be impaired. And so we wanted to make sure and add that. And so that is, in addition to aligning it with the certified policy, we're adding that language into the classified. And that is also the change for the certified, is just to add that language.
These were paired, but I thought like the class certified would be with you, so I didn't want to keep bringing them up and down. So that's why I did classified and then went back through.
That's fine. I'm here.
Okay, questions for Dr. Williams on the classified
I'm very
PCC
glad
drug
that you
policy?
brought that up about the legalization card versus, but you still can't do that here. I do appreciate
And we're
that.
not hunting anyone down. We won't know unless something happens in your behavior that makes us question. And so,
Or
but
you go
we
to an
did want
event.
to clarify that.
Okay,
Motion to approve
Dr. Tate's made a motion. Is there,
classified PPC drug-free workplace policy.
Yep.
Second.
Ms. Maynard has seconded? Okay. Questions or discussions? Okay, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the classified PPC drug-free workplace policy, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, and is this for immediate implementation? Did the committee?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have the classified PPC committee policy. Dr. Williams?
Yes. So, on that particular one, again, we looked at that policy. It's been in place for quite some time, and saw that we needed some adjustments in terms of persons representing different departments. And so we went through, and you'll see some stricken language that is dated. And so ultimately, the final outcome is just verifying when those elections will be held. Also including another member to the committee to cover information and instructional technology. So another person. And to also make all of those positions 3-year marks. When they first were rotating them in, they had 1 year for this and 1 year for that, and the committee decided they wanted to have each person serve 3. So we'll rotate people off that are currently on in that format, and then, as people have to reapply or be nominated for those positions, we'll work our way into that. We will be having classified elections here soon for some open positions.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Maynard has made the motion to approve the classified PPC policy committee policy. Is there a second? I know it sounds funny, but it is how it's supposed to be.
CP.
Oh, Smith seconded, okay. All right, last questions? All right, we'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the classified PPC committee policy, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And they need this implemented immediately as well, so that, because their elections are gonna happen next
Yes.
month. Okay. Next up, classified grievance policy.
Okay, this policy actually has come before you already. This is more of a clerical piece. In the one that was uploaded for you, it didn't have the language at the top stricken. And so we just wanted to, as an official piece, bring it back before you with the strike-throughs. But it has been approved in its intact form.
Okay, so everything after the strike-throughs was as it was?
Yes, sir.
And we voted on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve the updated grievance policy
For classified.
for classified. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Smith has made the motion. Is there a second?
Maynard?
Maynard has seconded. Okay. Questions? All right. We'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the classified grievance policy update, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And this is for immediate implementation as well. Okay. Next, classified and certified leave policy.
This is actually a law that was put into effect, 2024, which we're covered, under any law, but we wanted to make sure and have it added to our board policies officially. And so it's under two different statutes for classified and certified, and they're listed on, the policy that you have. We will, of course, have them split in their separate booklets, but basically is if an employee is injured, during the course of their work, by a student while they're maintaining their position, they can, with approval and documentation from their doctor, they can't just say, well, I'm gonna be off the whole year or up to a year, but the doctor, can provide documentation up to a year of them being off with pay. And that is state law.
Does the district have any recourse to send to another doctor for a second opinion if it seems?
Hokey. Nice official word. We always vet any documentation we get regarding medical things for FMLA, ADA accommodations, so we will vet it and proceed accordingly.
I think I had the same thought you did when I read that.
Our advisement
Yeah.
from our attorney would be to get another opinion, and he told me that they would have to prove that they were unable to perform any of their duties to work, so, yeah.
All right, and is this going into both books exactly the same, or is it gonna
Well,
be like
they are the same, and that's why we just use the
Yeah.
terminology employee, so we could move them fluidly, but they will have their respective statutes at the bottom.
So, yeah, but then you'll go, and when you make the two books, the same language will be in both books,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, all right, got it.
The different laws at the bottom.
Okay. All right,
Motion to approve, adopt the classified and certified separately PPC leave of absence for personal injury.
okay. Ms. Smith has made the motion to approve classified and certified leave, both of them. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Maynard has seconded. Other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll put both of these to a vote. The classified and the certified leave for personal injury or assault. Please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we have the certified PPC committee policy.
Drug free, yes.
And that was for immediate implementation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is just the mirror one of the
Yeah,
other one.
it had already been brought before you and changed to the updated format. This one is just adding that language regarding the, medical marijuana card.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay. I have a motion from Maynard and a second by Tate. This is the drug-free one, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes.
I said the wrong thing, so that's drug-free. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we have, this is gonna be the committee one, right, Dr. Williams? Is that what-
Sorry, I don't have my look like.
Records and.
Yes, it's the committee. It's the
No, actually, this one, yes, the next
Committee.
one is the committee, and it too is something that's already been brought before you. However, we failed to strike something out in that copy, so, but you all, what is up is the current effect. So, that language at the bottom is some dated language, from 2013, and so it's no longer necessary, so we wanted to just make sure it was officially stricken.
Okay, and then you're putting them on 3-year terms.
Yeah, well, they're already on 3.
Oh, it's just bolded here, so I thought
Yeah.
that was, okay. All right. And they're gonna stay with 5 teacher members and 3 administrators, is that, or do you think they're gonna,
They are, as you see in they have a range where they can adjust, but at this current point, they're staying with the same number of members, but
Okay,
they may
all right.
discuss later to do something
Okay.
differently, but at this current point,
This is a district, because lots of districts have different configurations. This is a 5-3 district in terms of our certified PPC.
yes.
Okay. All right, all questions on this one? Do I have a motion, actually? I need a motion on it.
Motion to approve.
Maynard has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Potter has seconded. I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the certified committee policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Also immediate implementation. They need this for October. Okay. Then next, we have the certified PPC records policy.
This actually this too came before you with the final book when we were in transition with losing our president, our lead for the PPC. We had one more piece that needed to be added, so we've added that now. And it is the definition for intensive support status. That's the only change that's been added. It just hadn't been put in at that point. And so that is the change there.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion on the certified records policy.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Potter has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Smith has seconded. Questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the certified records policy, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, and that's for immediate implementation.
Yes.
Okay. And then that brings us to just a regular old board policy, policy 4.60, behavior intervention.
Yes. And so this policy was along with that group from the student section. We wanted to kind of have our special ed department look over it more intently, so we're bringing it before you tonight with recommendations from the last legislative session. And so those are changes regarding that.
Okay. All right, questions for Dr. Williams? I'll take a motion on 4.60.
Motion to approve board policy 4.60, behavior intervention and restraint.
Okay, Dr. Tate has made a motion on policy 4.60. Is there a second?
Second.
Smith has seconded. Questions or final discussion? Okay, I'll put policy 4.60 to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you, Dr. Williams. Next, we have the virtual Arkansas contract with Mr. Sin.
I have discussed this policy or the change in what we're doing with each one of you. So if you have any questions, I'll entertain those at this time.
So let's flesh this out just a little bit for the public so they know what this is. This is we're using a third party to provide some classes in lieu of hiring a teacher, right?
Yeah, we had an incident where one of our teachers was unable to come back to work, and it was after school had started. The issue was that it was AP Physics and AP Chemistry, which very few people can teach. And so we were unable to find anyone in a timely manner, so we're using the third party. Virtual Arkansas had agreed to provide us a teacher as long as we provided the intercessors to stay in the classrooms with the students while they taught the courses. They're also doing a Spanish Lang and a Spanish 1 class with that as well. So we're getting the price of 3 teachers for $70,000, and that is the cost.
Because we're using this for more than just that, but it's to fill in some gaps that otherwise we'd be doing emergency hires for teachers right now, right? On certain courses, and that's in our agenda packet, what those are and what schools they're being done to. Okay. Questions? I'll take a motion on the virtual Arkansas contract.
Motion to approve the virtual Arkansas Fall and Spring Courses contract.
Okay, Ms. Potter's made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Tate has seconded. Discussion or questions? This is for 1 year, right? This is gonna get in, okay. All right, I'll put it to a vote. All in favor of approving the virtual Arkansas contract for those classes in your board packet, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. All right, that brings us down, this isn't really an action item, I just threw it there. It's a public comment policy, and this can go as fast or as slow as we want tonight because it's not gonna get approved tonight. Let me get my notes here. So, during the legislative session that recently ended, the legislature passed Act 902, which requires every school district to have a public comment period set up at the beginning of their meetings. In Pulaski County, like the entire county of Pulaski, all the districts inside of here, this is something that every district has had, except, I think, except Jacksonville, but it may come as a surprise to people out in the other areas of the state. It's actually very common to not have a public comment policy and to force anybody that wants to address the board to submit like pre-approval and go through a lot of hoops to get to a place where they can stand before the board and address them. The legislature doesn't want that. And so they passed Act 902 and requires that public comment, every board have one, but more to the point, they need to have it at the beginning because school boards sometimes will put them at the end, and then they'll go into executive session for 2 hours and hide out and all of that. So essentially, school boards now cannot take action or go into executive session before they've had a public comment period, okay, for at least 30 minutes. We can do celebrations and things like that, so that's fine, but you can't get into voting or go hide out in the back until you've done your public comment, you've taken your medicine, okay, or you've gotten your feedback from your public, okay. And the other thing is that the everybody has to have 3 minutes. That's in the law, so we already had that here. A lot of what was in the law we already had. There were a couple things that we didn't do that I'll point out that we have started doing, but the policy will need to incorporate that. But overall, our practice because we did not actually have a public comment policy, like a formal public comment policy. You could find a little bit about public comment in 1.14, but it didn't say we had to have one. It didn't say when. It didn't say how much. We just had a practice, okay, of doing it that way. But fortunately, our practice was pretty much compliant with the law, except in a couple of cases. However, I just feel like we need to go ahead and have a formal policy, whatever it may be. The law does give you some options on it, but I think we need to have a standalone public comment policy that the public can go to when they say, if I want to come address the board, what are the rules, how does it work, that sort of stuff, in a dedicated policy that you can read from top to bottom that just deals with that, not buried inside of some other policy, etc. So, you have a policy in front of you that I wrote that's on your board packet. It is everything we used to do and we did before that was compliant with the law, and then some things changed to match the law. I didn't ask for a letter from Mr. Beckett, but I showed him the policy. He felt like this policy was compliant with Act 902. I can get you a letter if you want, but I more wrote the policy. I think it's a good idea, but I wrote it as a vehicle because it's the board's policy. I wrote it as a vehicle to start discussion, to show you what a policy would look like if we just made our existing practices comply with the law. It does add language about how the comment period is managed. We didn't have anything there about, I don't know, I don't have it up in front of me. I've got it over here somewhere, but there's, a few things about what the superintendent and the board president can do, because none of this was in writing, okay? It was just sort of, a practice, and it might vary based on who the board president was. But, things like, if you have somebody up there that got interrupted for some reason, they can have their time restored, or warn somebody if they're exceeding their time limit, things like that. That's all in the policy. Also, you have in this packet, I did, Winston got some statistical information so you know what our public comment periods have looked like for the past 2 years. The law requires that you have to go, you can't do anything but take public comment for 30 minutes, okay, no matter what. But after 30 minutes, the board has the option to get to its business if it wants to, but it still needs to take those public comments later on. So the board has the option to move it after 30 minutes. Well, so this is why I provided this data, is because I wanted you to be able to see how often do we even get over 30 minutes of public comments. And the answer is, realistically, it only exceeded one time, and for the most part, it stays right around 30 minutes. So we're not looking at, historically, hours and hours of public comment. But the law does give you that option to move them after 30 minutes, but we typically do not get to that historically. But this policy does, on paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it does spell out the process that you could move public comments after 30 minutes. The board doesn't have to, but it would basically require a vote of the board. So it's not like something the president can just haul off and move them. It doesn't automatically happen, but it could be used in a situation where if you have some emergency that you need to take care of, but you've got a lot of people that want to talk about it. Well, they get to talk, but then you can get to the item. However, one other thing you have to know is that if they indicate on the sign-up sheet that they're here to speak on an item that you voted on, you cannot put them after the item. They have to be heard before the item they've indicated that they're here to speak on, if they're here to speak on an item. So you cannot get past anybody. You can't make a decision before you've heard everybody that's here to talk on that item. Okay? And that's incorporated into this policy too. I'll wrap it up. This is only for discussion. If you would like to see what different language looks like, I can do it. I can ask Mr. Beckett to do it. You can write different language. If you'd like to write your own policy, you can do that as well. We can look at this again during our special budget meeting or in October. But I wrote one. It's mostly like how we did it. No funny business, nothing major changed. In fact, it kind of, the part that changed was it clarifies that we have to have public comment at every single meeting, special, regular, emergency. We did not consistently do that in the past. And that's the thing that we were not compliant with the law on. We didn't have to be compliant, but now we do. So I'll stop there. What do y'all want for a public comment policy? Do y'all like how we do it now? Do you want to try to do something different?
I mean, I think that we've been doing it the way that the law is now suggesting or requiring that it be done. So, I mean, I wouldn't change anything that we do other than to put it as an official policy.
Okay.
I think that having them always go first is fair.
Well, now it's required. Well, after the celebrations.
But I mean, it's nothing that we have to do.
Yeah, right.
Do you feel like what you've written is enough? We could vote tonight and just move on?
We could, but I think that since it's a public comment policy, even if everybody came up here and they were like, this is the greatest policy I've ever seen, I think we should hold it because people may not realize that there is a public comment policy. And they might now, and they want to read it, and they can come back and then give public comment on the public comment policy.
Yeah, but I mean, we're already doing it. Like, we've
Well-
already given the public more than was ever required, so we're just saying, hey, we're doing it right, and
Yeah,
here's just our policy that says we're gonna keep doing what we've been doing, which is law, so.
But
Okay.
we can keep doing what we're doing until, and make sure that people have come and given their piece on it too, because, I mean, I'm gonna follow the law, and then this just binds us in writing and explains to everybody how it all works. So, I mean, at the special meeting and then at the October meeting, I'll continue to do it the way I've done it and the way that we've always done it that's legal. And then, but then it just gives people time to come back. It gives you time to go and reflect. It just seemed to me that like the public comment policy might, besides just getting everyone's feedback here, it just seemed like there wouldn't be any, it seems like the type of policy that you would hold over a little bit, just to hear if somebody had something negative that went and got it, looked at it and said, I don't like this, I don't like that, whatever.
Yeah, I think we all like public comments for the most part, just like we like emails, because it gives us information about
what's going on in the district and how everybody feels. So I don't want this question to reflect that I don't like that, but I just was wondering if this request that disruptive individuals leave the meeting, if it's never happened to us, but if it did, would that include the speaker?
It would just be about the speaker.
It's just referring.
Well, I mean, anybody I mean, this can happen without the public comment policy if you're blatantly disruptive, like clapping and stuff like that. I don't really think that counts. It would have to be something egregious. I've never seen a person asked to leave this meeting before, ever, since we've come back from state takeover. I can't remember a time, but it's just something that I thought should be clarified in advance, that if you're coming to disrupt a meeting or you think you might, you could be removed. But removing people from public meetings is a touchy thing, okay, because it's a public meeting. It really has to be egregious. I've talked to the attorneys about this. It's not going to be something that is done lightly at all. I don't even know if that answered your question. I'm just going to leave it, and we can come back to it. We can put it on the special meeting and see if anybody has any more thoughts, and then we can put it on the October meeting, and that'll have given a month.
Sure.
And I'm going to keep doing it the way we have, the way everybody knows and loves now that we're following the law completely, and we'll get it taken care of. But if you have other ideas, just bring it up at the special meeting, and then Mr. Beckett or I or anybody can look at getting you different language, okay?
Okay.
So we're just going to leave that alone. That was not an action item. And then that's going to bring us down to our our consent agenda. I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Smith has made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Potter has seconded. Discussion? All in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. That brings us down to board comments.
I got to enjoy Grandparents' Day at Cato, even though I don't have a grandchild there, but I was the tea pusher, so I pushed tea. It was awesome. I will say, we need to look at their air conditioning. They do not have an air conditioner in the cafeteria. And I wasn't there very long, and it wasn't that hot out that day, but I can imagine what it's like when they first come back in August. Had a very large attendance. It was awesome.
Other comments?
Well, I'm excited for Robinson to get started building. It's been kind of a long, hard road for everybody to get to this point, but with the bathrooms and the new buildings, I'm just hoping we can hopefully figure out something with the parking for the football games and things. So, but I know everybody's excited to start building.
Okay. Other comments?
I'm hearing things are going really well, particularly at Maumelle Middle and Maumelle High. I heard we got several new students at Maumelle Middle last week, which is exciting. So I think families in Maumelle and in our theater there's something that's attracting them. I feel like a lot of it has to do with the academies. So I just wanted to highlight that and tell everyone who works so hard on our academies and our partnerships, thank you, because I think it's making our theater pattern in particular a very attractive option for families in our area.
And Sylvan Hills is 2-0, not to disparage Maumelle, but one of them was against Maumelle.
It was a close game.
Sylvan Hills needed that win.
Yeah.
It was a defensive struggle.
Needed it so bad, they took away our 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Others? Before I give it to Mr. Sin, I did say that we would have a discussion about a special meeting date. I'd rather we do that out here in the open rather than send the superintendent around to try to guess who wants to do what where. Our goal here is to have it approved by the 30th. The board has articulated in the past that it doesn't like the one day, day of type stuff. But, so when would you like to have a, Ms. Guest, can you come up here just in case we need you to give input on this? We shouldn't have it tomorrow, right? You're not, you won't
That would be correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when would you say the window would open where you would be comfortable presenting a budget to this board on the calendar?
The 25th?
Okay. All right.
Thursday,
Thursday, the 25th.
So I'm in Florida for a meeting the 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Okay, so,
Is that something that you could remote into? She could remote into that, right?
do you want to remote into it?
It would be in the evening?
Yeah,
I should be able to do that.
okay. All right. Where,
I'm good.
any of those days is fine with me, but where are we on, is anyone blocked from these days?
What day did I tell you that I was originally?
22nd,
what time we're gonna do, 6?
6.
So now you have to move it.
You said
I thought
22nd or
Monday's-
25th?
Monday's your day that you're at the hospital now?
No,
You switched it for this?
every time I switch it for one of these things or for something to my daughter, then we start doing it on different days.
Oh,
And now I work Wednesday nights.
okay.
Let me look at my flights real quick just to make sure I can do that night.
How many people do we have to have, a quorum?
Yeah, but it's the budget.
Okay, so the 25th,
Be too early?
25th.
The 22nd, if you want to meet, if the board wants to meet on the 22nd, we'll have it ready.
Okay.
But what I would like to appraise you of is we can't get into cycle 1 until the 15th. It's not released until the 15th. And you want that budget that we've posted back to live and then pull into cycle 1. We want time to be able to fix anything that we see that is not correct. We get several warnings and several validations, and it's usually pages of things. I will tell you that we're already working through some of that as we get personnel ready. So yes, y'all want to meet on the 22nd? The business office will rise to that occasion.
You can get it done in 5 days?
Somebody said the 25th?
She said the 25th was when
I
she
left
would love
out the 29th. The 30th is obviously out. I totally agree about that. And I think the 29th is awfully close. You know,
Girl, we
that's
have
one
done
day
it
before
midnight
it's
hour.
due.
I could do the 25th better than the 22nd.
it. Okay, all right. Does anyone have a problem with the 25th?
Yeah, I have the butt crack of dawn flight at 5:47 in the morning, so I should be good by that night. I might be asleep, but
You can get you a nap.
I couldn't remember what time I flew in that day.
Okay, so you'll be okay with remote?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll get, who's back there in the IT den? Okay,
Hello.
You know I'm the most tech savvy up here, so
yeah, definitely, 100%.
You good?
that was supposed to be funny.
It's the same.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay, we're gonna, now, Eli, what time? Early or like 5, or when I say early, I mean 5 or later?
I probably need later because I think I'm in
You're an
meetings.
hour ahead.
See,
Oh,
We can have it at 5.
What is,
Where are you
So
gonna
if we
be?
have it
I
at
can do it
6, it'll be.
anytime.
that would be 6.
Okay,
I'll be.
If you did it at 5, it'd be 6 there. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
An hour
Can we
ahead, not
compromise
behind.
and do 5:30? I'm
Yeah,
fine
it's
with it
5
being earlier, but it's just,
Before there.
it's hard to get all the way from over there to over here in traffic in 30 minutes.
Okay.
No, they're an hour behind.
Where are you going?
Florida,
Okay,
Orlando.
They're
let's,
an hour ahead.
I don't care what time.
okay.
We're an hour behind.
So if we did
So,
5, it'd be 6 there.
where we've settled is Thursday, the 25th at 5:30.
you're now right.
Thursday, the
Heather's
25th.
confused. I'm not.
No, I'm like,
5:30.
wait, we just said 5 and you said 6, and I'm like, no,
Because it'd
no,
be
no.
6 where I'm at.
Are we doing 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.?
We're doing 5:30.
5:30 Central Time.
Okay.
Because I'm in
Central.
meetings till 5.
That's
Watch
right.
your mouth.
Okay, 5:30.
Okay.
25th.
5:30.
And this is the ideal way for boards to schedule things. This way everybody sees, they understand that all the stuff that goes into the sausage making of getting everybody together. So 5:30, the 25th, which is a Thursday, and I will put on there the public comment policy again for more discussion. Okay? All right. Thank you, Ms. Guess. Any last comments from the board? Okay, I'll throw it over to the superintendent.
We have some individuals that have worked in our school system for many years that are very ill. And they are our friends and our colleagues, and we miss them. And I just want them to know, and there are more than one, that we are thinking about them, and we love them, and we're praying for them. And we wish them a soon recovery and come back to us. It's very important for me that all of us feel wanted and needed, and that we recognize those when they're not able to be here. So I thank them for their service, and I really would appreciate it if you would keep them in your minds and prayers.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Okay. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Potter has made the motion, Maynard has seconded. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.